Hello, welcome back to BLENDERSUSHI Live Noding. In this episode, we're gonna talk about list repeat, and this is actually kind of like a beginning of a bigger project. If for now it's kind of a little bit abstract, but in the end, it's gonna be like useful to generate kind of like a city building. But we kind of I'm kind of thinking of a system where we can more easily think of the number and the pattern in the array and using nodes to do that. It's I don't know. It can be a little bit complex. I don't know. It's like maybe I should start scripting. I don't know, like a tree and some kind of branching structure. This is still kind of difficult for me, but anyhow, let's jump on it. The key here is to use a list repeat. It's probably simpler than I thought to explain, but so list repeater, list repeat by default, it's gonna repeat the data, right? Let's say we have I'll type in my data 1 2 3 and I just plug that in and check the result. 1 2 3 repeated 3 times. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, that's easy enough. What if we want to make this data instead of 1 2 3, I want it to be maybe 5 times 1, so it's 1 1 1 1, and then the next one maybe 4 and then 2, so 5 4 and 2, 5 4 and 2. I plug into the number. That's not correct. We need to probably use level 2 1 1 2 2 2 3 3. So number 2 4 times, number 3 2 times. Okay, that's correct. That seems to be working. So this is something we need to understand first. So that's the idea. Basically, you can use list repeater, and because this guy is factorized, you can do things like this. You can actually replace this with text, for example, apple, banana, peach, and now we have 5 apple, 4 bananas, and 2 peach. And then this guy, we can just use a random number generator. Let's say size of 3, because we have 3 set of items, unique items. And this number, let's check. Okay, this matching our formula, so we can just pass it in. Make sure we don't have 0, so plug that in. And now we can have this result. Let's make this smaller. So generate random number between 1 and 6, size of the total of 3 numbers, 114. You can see the number here, 114, and then 645, 1 2 3 4 5 6 4 5. Okay, so yeah, if it's in terms of creation of building, we might have this building with a 6th floor, and a second building 4 floor, and then this one 5 floor. So yeah, that's gonna work for us. Obviously this is not so much new, but the vectorizations and list repeater is kind of something I figured out just recently. Okay, so now if we want to create a line, viewer draw. For this line, let's say we want it to grow up. By default, it's kind of growing in the x-axis. Just use this vector in and vector out and plug in the x into the z. So now it's growing up. Let's say we want to have these lines, but a multiple of these lines, and soon we're gonna be using this list repeater. For now, let's focus on this. Let's have a multiple of this line. Matrix in and let's see this range of number for the x start and the stop. This is the start and that's the stop and that's the count. Make it 5 for now. We already learned about this in one of my live noding. So we want to vectorize this line. So we want to have like a maybe this line with a different height with different number of vertices. So if you were thinking, okay, random number generator and just plug that in, it's not gonna work. Unfortunately, it's not gonna work, and we take a look why. So we need 5, 7, 10, 8, 3, 6. Okay, we have the number. Why is it not working? Because the line, in order to vectorize this, we need to provide it with an extra bracket. So we need to have that and that, and we need the number to be inside of the bracket. Okay, how do we do that? We can use one of the trick is to use a list split. So with list split, you can see real quick we can split the data every one, and then we have this list, and then we can just use it for our line. And apparently it fails because I need to unwrap it. Okay, apparently I need to unwrap it, so it should look like this. Yeah, that's interesting, but anyway, at least it is working. So random number list split. Sometimes, like I said, you need to use a list split, list join, just to ensure your array is working for the nodes. So in this case, okay, we have this, cool. Now for the next thing, we can use the skin modifier, the skin measure in Spreadshock, and let me try this. Plug that in, and we need the edge, and then we need the matrix, and cool, we have this skin modifier. There's a slight quirk at the moment. It's a weird thing happening. We seem to have like extra points here and there, so we don't get the proper skin modifier. Yeah, that looks quite funny, but hopefully that can be fixed. For now, let's just remove the subsurf and don't care about that. We just want to see this line. For the radius, okay, we can control all of this, and this is actually going to be controlling each vertices. So we can see this like the vectorization is happening, and then for the radius we cannot just put in like a random number. If I try random number float between this number and this number, 5 of them, plug that in, that's kind of working, but that's for every single points. Yeah, that's not, even though that's quite interesting, that's not what we need at the moment. We might actually use this at some point just to generate the building, because yeah, I think that's really useful. For now, we really want to, what I really want to show is to generate the radius for each of this building, and we already learned up here. So let's say if we have 5 now, 5, and this is like 5 building, orange building, and blue building, and we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 1, 2. Okay, we can use this list repeater for our radius, because we know we have, currently we have 5 building, and for this guy we want to have different radius, and for the radius we want to repeat it depending on the number of line coming in. So we don't need this guy. This is the random value. The random value gonna go to the data, and the number actually comes from this random number generator, which is an integer. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's gonna be the radius for the first line, and so on. We can have a look at the full data. So 5 objects, 7, 10, 8, 3, 6. And that's from this guy, 7, 10, 8, 3, 6. This is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 3, 8, 7, 10. Okay, cool. That's matching the number, so we just need to pipe in this number into the radius down there to make it nicer. Just gonna drag this down and pipe the value into the radius like that. Now we can see our building, and they have different radius size based on this. With a size of 5, we can still control the radius, and then we can randomize the seed. So that's why I started with the list repeat at the start of this tutorial. It's for this to make a little bit more sense. Our line's still there. We can hide it for now. This is our building. Each of them is a skin modifier being generated live. And if you want to make it more robust, for example, we can create an integer for the count. So this is like size 5, count 5, 5 radius value, and each one of them has confirmed. We can control stepping of the building. We can make more of this guy. Okay, there's actually more of them, and then we can arrange it better. So this is on the line, it's kind of doing that. We can actually with this range float, we can adjust the distance so the building can be side by side, and then they're not leaving the gap. But that's another little problem there. Not gonna do that now. This and this, actually we can just use something else. Let's say if I'm using random number generator, actually random vector, mk2 count and the scale, and then plug that in there. We can have this. But we can make it a little bit better. So instead of random number in all XYZ directions, we can just use vector out and vector in. Just use the X and the Y. And we can generate more points with random scale, and then we can control the building. Currently, each of the building is like a cubicle. They can actually have different shape. You know, like skin modifier have the X and the Y. You can actually make the building a little bit long or a little bit thin, like that. Yeah, thicker or thinner. So that's actually possible. What we cannot do is random shapes like this. Maybe we cannot do that for now, but keep things simple. Just have it like that for now. So yeah, this is another way we can approach the building creation. Obviously, with the line up here, we can control the step. We can actually randomize the step, the height of each floor as well. Not gonna do it now. This is the okay, that's actually the minimum and the maximum height of the building. This is kind of the height of the floor. I guess this is quite interesting. Well, this is, I guess, thanks to the skin mesher here. It's doing the hard work on that part, and then there's a matrix and this line. Everything is a little bit easier now. So I'm creating like 250 building. I can spread it more. If you want to make it faster, I believe you can do that, but currently we have like a 250 lines objects, and each one of them is getting this skin modifier. You could potentially just like I said, make it like a little bit like a tree. So you have like a bunch of building there, a bunch of building there. They're all grouped. So we need a kind of a some kind of data structure to handle this. And by having that kind of a group of building, we can have maybe just instance this guy. You know, we don't need too many building. Maybe like maybe even just 50 building, but all with random seed. We can generate like a procedural city, just like if you have like a single tree, but if you rotate it and then you randomize the color, and then our brain just look at many trees as a forest, and as long they don't repeat, they can look quite convincing. So that's what I think will work. Basically, if we group this guy and then just instance it using particles, we can have quite a convincing looking city building, even though they are all currently flat, just a cubicle like this. But sometimes you get a interesting result like this, overlapping building. That can be a building and something like this. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for this live coding. If you have any suggestion, feedback, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye.